what's going to happen here is a little box is probably jumped up on your screen, and you have to click the "Got It" button, the little notification spot that says "Got It." So click that. And good morning, Sally. Sally, I'm going to mute you there.
Okay, Otto. I'm
Good.
staying for half an hour.
Okay, great. Great. Okay, so again, the recording is going here, and hopefully you've been able to click that box out of your way where it says "Got It," and click that. And then you also have the setup like this with a chair on either side so that you have something to balance with. This is the setup for this class every single time. So hopefully you got that going. And so as I was saying, meditation is a very practical skill. It's a survival skill in the sense of, especially as we age, or if you're dealing with any sort of balance issue or some sort of something that's limiting you, and you're trying to walk around outside, you're trying to go through the supermarket, you're trying to step down a curb, the ability to be very present is often the determiner as to whether you successfully step over that little bump in the curb or you know what I'm saying, like little obstacles. So when we're doing meditation, yes, it can lead towards, stillness and enlightenment qualities, like feeling at ease and all of that. But focusing on the idea, Gary, I'm going to mute you there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you just unmuted yourself again. Go ahead and mute yourself. Okay, thank you. Again, so as we sit and meditate, and you guys might hear my voice is a little scratchy. I had a wonderful weekend with family up in Reading, but it took its toll. There was a lot of laughter, and I'm feeling a little tired at the voice. So anyway, so meditation, this idea of just sitting and being present for a moment. Eyes closed. Finding your central line, your central pillar, from the top of the head, straight down through your middle, down through where your buttocks are connecting to the chair, or if for some reason you're already standing up, you're through your legs and through your feet. But it's that central channel that then connects either to either buttock bone when you're sitting in the chair, left and right buttock, or eventually that's through the legs, down and through the feet. But you got to feel that central line. And then you want to keep that as your integrity, structural integrity, but then everything else softens. And when we soften and relax, rather than it being a downward trajectory of sort of slouching or slumping, it's actually a plumping up of the body. There's more space in between the layers of your skin and muscle and tissue so that your nerves can flow through freely. And as well, you're not holding tension in your body that makes you top heavy, right? The tenser I am when I'm walking around, the more I'm up out of my root and able to be knocked over. So this release down and through to the earth by relaxing in a way that opens you up, that makes space. So just take we'll just spend a short 30, 40, 50 seconds here. In through the nose, holding the breath for a moment or two, out through the nose or the mouth. And see if you can release and slough off grip, hold, and tension. Any distracting thoughts within the mind of future or past, or of present commentary, which is often happening. We're having a running commentary on the present moment. That all is distracting and potentially dangerous when it comes to walking, staying balanced. So just try to clear the mind and have it be an open, witnessing, present, clear space. Just 30 seconds here. And keep this idea of relaxed. Structural integrity from the center line, everything else relaxed, at ease. Gently open the eyes. Hands are on your thighs now. Slide your hands forward, drop the head gently and gently round your back. Slide your hands back, pull elbows back, shoulder blades back, and look up. 2 more. Slide your hands forward, gently drop the head. We're moving all 24 vertebrae. Slide the hands back, pull the elbows back, shoulder blades back, look up. So sort of limbering up this pillar of the spine that often we're holding on to with like white knuckle grip instead of feeling loose and free and light. So as you finish that last one there, find the middle, right in the middle, perfectly centered. Then slide left hand forward, right hand slides back and turn to your right side, looking over the shoulder. Then reverse that, turn and turn the whole body to the left side. Back to the middle and rotate. So now all those 24 vertebrae are just gently turning, rotating. You don't have to go very far, especially if you're newer to the practice. Just a little bit of rotation this way, a little bit of rotation that way. Again, loosens up some of that deep tension and grip. Back to the middle. Hang your arms off the side. Softly lean. Tipping to the right. Back up to the middle. Softly lean. Tipping to the left. Back to the middle. Right? Middle. So this is lateral movement of the vertebra. Lateral movement through the torso and the tissue and the muscle that binds it up. So we're just trying to be looser and looser and looser rather than more held, more gripped, more tense. And we're back to middle. Shoulders. Shrug both shoulders up as high as you could possibly shrug them. Really look for the very top, so that you can then melt from the top and let go through the arms and shoulders and chest. So make sure you've let them go now. Up as high as you can take them, only to then let them really melt down, 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 down. Again, up, down. And let's do our circles. Shoulders come forward, up, over the top and back, down. Forward and up, over the top, back, and down. 2 more. 1 more. So we're unbuckling these areas that seem to get stagnant and stuck. Now we go the other way. Back up, forward, down. Again, if you're newer to this, just kind of try to get the idea. Try to get some movement through this shoulder chest joint that, again, needs to be very open, spacious, and fluid for us to be able to feel light and empty up top. And bend your elbows, bring your hands up. Elbows go out and as high up as they'd like to go. And then elbows come down, forward a little bit, and then squeeze them together. Try to touch your elbows together. And then down, out and up. Again, so just think of this like we're wringing out an area that's stagnant. We're kind of squishing and then releasing and then stretching and releasing and bringing it together. Now pull the elbows behind you, straight back. Then down, forward. This may be as far as you can go. Some of you might be able to go up. And then forward and down and back. Down, forward, up. Just as much as you can today. And little by little, these softening exercises allow the body to release and open and move with more freedom. And so Sally and David, notice that my elbows are not out here. They're here. And then I'm trying to go up while keeping them in. So think up, down, back. All right. And elbows out. Last one up here. Wrap around your body. And then open, elbows out to the side. Switch the other one on top, other one underneath. Wrap like you're giving yourself a hug. Open. One up, one down. Wrap like you're giving yourself a hug. Open. One up, one down. Wrap like you're giving yourself a hug. And down. Hands on your thighs. A little bit with the legs. Scoot back just a touch. Now we're going knee up, foot in, and then down. Knee, other one, knee up, foot in and back. Right, drawn in and then set down. Alternating. Now bring this knee up, push, up, down, up, push, up, down. Other side up, push, up, down, up, push, up, down. Now, this first leg, just extend it straight, point foot, flex foot. About 4 or 5 times. Then a little invert, evert. A little subtle movement there. Then circle. Other way, circle. And put that foot down. Other leg extended, point and flex. Invert, evert, just a subtle little in and out. Circles. Other way, circles. And down. Scoot again to the front edge of your chair, hands on your thighs. Forward fold, And then slide your hands down towards your feet and let yourself gently round your back. Then sitting back up, lift your chest up, look up. Do it again. While still looking up, forward fold. Then slide the hands down and let yourself gently round at the back. Then sit up with a softly rounded back. Chest lifts, elbows come back, look up. Keep looking up as you forward fold at the hips. Slide the hands, let the head gently fall. And then come all the way back up. And we'll do that one more time. Fold, slide, and then stay around as you come up, back to neutral. Now we're going to do standing up and sitting down a few times. So key to this, you're at the front edge of your chair, your feet are back a little bit. Notice that my ankles are behind the knees a little bit, rather than them being out in front of you like that, or even at 90, bring them back just a little bit. And then your goal here is to fold at the hips and get shoulders and head and arms in front of your ankles over here. And if you can achieve that, notice the butt just comes off the chair very easily. Then you push through the earth, push down, and up you come all the way. To sit down, it's the reverse of that. The butt goes back, the head and shoulders have to come forward, and then we sink the butt. That's what bends the knees. We land. Notice I'm still folded forward, and then sit to vertical. Fold. Energy goes forward, and then I push through the earth to rise. Fold. Create that little balance, and then sink and sit vertically. Two more. So effortless. Fold. Still pretty effortless. Stand up. So we don't have to make it into a work piece. This is soft, controlled landing. Soft. Folding softly and rising. Now 3 times, don't sit in your chair. Don't sit in the chair, but sink as if, and then rise back up. Fold and sit. Notice this is how you could get down and pick up your pen or your glasses that fell on the ground. You stick your butt back and sink down here. You can get to the floor and then bring it up with you. And it's effortless. That's the key. Folding, sinking, touching, and then rising back up. Okay. Now, from this standing position, and again, make sure you've got your balance items where you need them for your safety. Let yourself tip forward into the fronts of your feet. And if you notice, as I stand sideways, we can tip our bodies, and there's actually sort of a leaning that's happening because we have a lot of foot out in front. We don't have that same foot behind. So when you come back and try to tip into your heels, don't lean back. Instead, kind of lean forward in the upper body and let your weight go back through the heels. Then shift forward, and now you're in your toes. Shift to the middle and then back to the heels. Middle and then forward. Middle, back. Middle. Now, as you come forward, you got your balance items nearby. So now you're in your toes, stay in your toes. Lift your heels up off the ground. Lower your heels back down, keeping them empty, and then rock back into your heels. Now you got your hands on your balance item. Try to pull the toes up off the floor so you're only in your heels. Put your toes back down. Forward into your toes. sure you guys can see my feet. And then lift, back down, rock back to your heels, lift the toes and the ball of the foot off the floor. Someday this can be done with no hands on anything, right? That's a bit, especially this one back into the heels. It's a very difficult challenge, but if you have safety mechanisms around you, you can practice that, and it really starts to get you feeling comfortable on your feet. Okay, and find the middle. Now let's make our way over to the right support item here. Let your body weight shift more through your right leg, so your left leg is less the leg you're using. You're not using it as much. Try to lift the heel off the ground, put the heel back down, and then shift into that left leg. The right leg now being emptier, lift the heel, put the heel down, shift and go more into the right leg. So this is separating empty and full. Shift. Heel lifts, get to the tippity toes now. Very tip of the toes. Whole foot down. Change. So discerning between empty and full. Right? Now, additional challenge, hand on balance if you want it, is once this foot is empty, disconnect it from the floor, lower it back down, land the whole foot empty, and then change. This side, heel, tippy toes, disconnect it, let it settle back to the earth, and then change. So a simple exercise, this could be done both hands on something, balance-wise, if that's what you need. One hand, fingertip, or someday no hand. So there's a beginning, intermediate, advanced, super advanced would be like eyes closed or something like that, right? So a simple exercise that maybe you've done in this class with me before, but think of it in terms of how do you find the appropriate level for you and make it push your edge comfortably forward. Now, both legs stable. Now, with your hand on the right side, this is my left, but I'll call it my right so that I'm your mirror, okay? Now, shift the weight to this left leg, your left leg, right foot empty, put it out in front of you with the heel touching lightly to the ground. Rocking chair, just like a rocking chair, rock into your front foot, rock into your back foot. Again, front foot, back foot. So those of you who've done this for a while, think about what I just said a moment ago in terms of how do you add challenge to an exercise that you might think, oh, we've done this, this is easy. Well, take your hand off the balancing item, but make sure it's there to keep you safe. Maybe someday you even blink your eyes closed every so often to challenge yourself to really feel inside your body, and you take away your visual reference for your equilibrium. Now, level 2 of this exercise, you might need your hand on your item here. Here, you lift this foot and put it back down. Shift into it. This back foot, bend the knee and pull the heel towards the butt, right? So it's sort of like a flamingo. Pick it up and then put the toe back down, shift back. This leg lifts, lowers, and then we shift. Back foot lifts, lowers, shift back. Lift, lower, shift forward. Continue that a few more times, please. Just gonna make sure you guys can see my feet. Shift. Now, level 3, this leg, instead of just lifting a straight leg, lift and bend the knee so that you can bring it all the way up. And then lower it down. Just do that portion a couple times. Lift, softly down, make sure it stays empty. Lift. So that means you have to have the relationship to your standing leg really well aligned. Now shift into your right leg, back leg empty. Now instead of just pulling heel to butt, bring that knee forward and up. And then reach the toe back. Forward and up. Reach the toe back. Notice I'm not putting any weight in this leg when I reach it back. So I'm keeping my relationship here very good, very strong, very aligned. All right, so that movement there. Now we put those together in a flow. Shift back. So now you establish in this back leg, lift, lower, shift. Once I'm established here, bring that knee forward and up, reach the toe back, shift back. Again. Stand back. One more. And feet together. Changing sides. So if you need to take a side step so you're closer to your other chair. Now, fill up this outside leg here, should be your right leg. Empty the left foot, put the heel out in front, just like this. And notice when I'm standing like this, my foot isn't way out here. It's just comfortably in front, so you can really work on keeping your vertical integrity. Rocking forward, rocking back, rocking forward and back. The goal here being, can you separate, get this front foot to feel very light and empty, and then feel the discernible change where now this one's full and this one's empty. And then this one's full and this one's empty. And then full and empty. Now, once you achieve that, then you're ready to do something more fancy like lift, lower, shift. Pause, lift, lower, shift. Now, some of you might be doing it like this where you go lift, lower, which is like a way of cheating, right? It starts that way, but it's a way of saying, oh, I did it. But only when you can lift, lower, shift, have you actually tested the theory of, is that foot empty? Because it can still have weight in it and you can kind of jump it off the ground like that. So work towards lift, lower, shift. That slow rhythm is what does what it is that we want to do. So slowing down may seem like we're going in the wrong direction to progress, right? And so that's why the brain sort of doesn't compute the idea to slow down. But slowing down allows us to develop the principles that are necessary, and then we can do those principles swiftly and correctly, and we can move faster without hurrying, without rushing. Now this one here, about 3 times, just lift, lower, lift, lower, empty, empty, empty the whole time. And shift into that leg, get well established here, and then lift, reach back without putting weight in it. Forward and up, back, forward and up, back. The flow, shift back, up, down, shift forward, up, back, shift back. Imagine a teacup sitting right on top of your head, and you're just keeping that a steady still sort of cradle. Same thing here in the middle of you in the pelvis. Pelvis is like a still cradle. And then you're just changing which leg you're using to connect you to the earth. And that frees the other leg. All right, legs back together. Make your way back to the first side. Again, if you're on your walker, you probably don't need to change left to right very much. Now, inside leg out in front, just like we did a moment ago. Now we shift. So this is that same bit. Now this is where it changes. This back foot, we swing it forward and let that heel touch the ground empty, and we rock forward again. Then we go back. So it's rock back, wait for this leg to be empty, step it back, keep it empty, let the toe touch, shift. Rock, swing, rock. Like I said, slowing that down might feel like the wrong direction to be able to move efficiently, but it is the right thing to practice. Slow. Wait for it to be empty, swing it forward, keep it empty, land it, rock, back, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, swing it, back. So when we go slow, it really reveals our clumsiness. It reveals the potholes and blind spots in the brain-body matrix. Brain-body network. So Tai Chi is putting a lot of challenge at that level. Let's go to level 2 here. This front leg, lift, lower, just like we did a moment ago. Shift forward. As the back foot is empty, you got to step over a small obstacle. The foot comes up, over, and forward, and then rock forward. Back foot, flamingo, down. Rock back. Again, I got my chair here if I need it. Up, tuck, reach, shift back. Up, down, shift. Up and over with that back foot. Step up and over. Shift. Back foot up, down. So again, this cradle. Shift. This foot being empty can step without disturbing this cradle. Shift. So as I've said before, it's as if from your hips up, you're just meditating. You're just sitting on your cushion, floating, meditating. And when you get really good at separating empty and full, then you don't disturb that stillness, and yet you're moving through space. That's Tai Chi. Let's go to level 3 here. Hand on chair as needed. Lift. Bring it down. Shift. And here you just exaggerate. Heel to butt. Knee up. Foot out. Lower it and touch the heel. And then shift. And then we've got knee up. Reach the foot back. Shift back. And we reverse this. Leg. Knee. Tuck it and reach it. And then shift. Up, down, shift. Exaggerate. As much as feels okay to your body. Shift. And yet still remember the cradle idea. Just this cradling central line. It's floating, stable, still piece right down through the middle. The teacup just resting comfortably on the head. And you're just emptying the legs so you can step it. Changing. Changing. And back. Switch sides. Hand on the other. Inside leg forward. Level 1. Rocking chair. Swing. Rocking chair. Rocking chair. Swing back. Rocking chair. Rock, swing, rock. Rock back, swing back, rock back. Continue. Cradle, stable, still, floating, relaxed, easy. Level 2, lift, lower, rocking chair, up and over, step the foot, shift. Back foot, lift, lower, shift back, up, tuck, reach, shift back. Lift lower, shift. Slower is progressing. The more you pay attention to the in between, spaces of everything. That means you're actually loading the neural network with challenge. And yet it's also safer to move with that level of presence and awareness. So it's harder and safer. Level 3, hand on chair as needed. Lift, lower, shift. Heel to butt, knee up, foot forward, lower down, shift. Back foot, knee comes up, reaches back, shift. 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 How's your teacup doing? Constantly remembering, oh yeah, if I'm holding on, I'm creating rigid. If I'm soft, I'm creating an opportunity for rooting. One more. And together. Shogun, or closing gesture. The hands do a little rise. They turn palms up. They come up and over, make a little circle. And then they settle down to your belly button height, the middle of you right there. And just stand for a moment. Breathe. And hands come down. Next thing is our side steps. So chairs back. Your chairs stay where they are. My chairs go back so I can stand in front and you guys can see me, but you guys will be kind of doing it like this, side stepping along so you have your chairs there for balance as we do it, okay? So now make your way to the right side of your space and weight goes through the right leg. This leg is empty, the left leg. So now go out and in. And remember this cradle, this stillness, undisturbed as that empty leg goes out, in. It doesn't have to go far. Often when I'm teaching this to folks, I see them doing like this and reaching way out. It's like way more valuable to work on the appropriate distance, even if this is all it is, or even smaller than this, but yet you're feeling that stable, still place. You're feeling the good relationship in this leg. Then leave that foot out there, change. So now the body weight changes so that this leg is the full leg, this one the empty leg, and then change back. All the while, that stillness, that pelvic cradle, that empty chest, shoulder. So we're feeling full, empty, full, empty. One more. Now, stay in your left leg, right leg being empty. Bring the foot in, out, in, out, in, out. Notice if you're upsetting your stillness, right? If there's any amount of this happening, Notice it and try to get it to where none of that is happening, where the leg is moving freely. Then bring that foot in and have your feet as close together as they can be. And this is very important. Work on changing the weight through the right leg. This one is now empty. Changing the weight through the left leg. This one empty. Changing. So this emphasizes this opening, down releasing quality. Opening the hip, knee, ankle, foot so that this one's empty. Opening the hip, knee, ankle, foot so that the other one isn't. Once more, into the right leg. Now left foot being empty, step it. Notice I'm still over here. Then change. Now that this is empty, bring it in. Notice it stays empty when I bring it in, and then I consciously change. Out. Change. Bring it in. Change. So mantra, step without shifting. Shift without stepping. Step without shifting. Shift without stepping. Step without shifting. Shift without stepping. How's your teacup? Let's go back the other way. So the foot comes in, out, and we shift. In, shift. Out, shift. So again, going slower feels like the wrong direction to go to progress, but it is the correct direction. Because, and I explain this so that we can get our mind around it, when I move from here to here, the slower I'm going, the higher the load on the neuromuscular junctions. And for Parkinson's, that is key. So change. Step without shifting. Change. And just think of this as you're just putting a load, upping the load, upping the load, upping the load. And the brain and the nervous system are finding different routes to network and connect because you're forcing them to. Let's go there and back one more time. In, out, change. In, change. Out, change. So the number one mistake people make is this. Right? And that's very dangerous. If your foot got caught on the rug or on the stair or on the curb when stepping like that, you're 100% all in with your body weight. Instead of here, you could bump into something and maybe you even stumble a little, but you are able to catch yourself. Let's go back the other way, final time. And eventually what happens is the more loose you are, the more you can sort of instantaneously release the body weight through this leg. And then that frees this leg up. And then sort of almost instantaneously let it go through that leg so this leg is free. So you can move eventually faster, but with the same principles rather than stiffly. That's what I see sort of going on whenever someone's moving fast. And you see a difference, I would hope, between that and this. One is underground. One is never putting myself at risk and I'm still functioning and doing things. The other, I'm at risk the whole time of falling over. Okay? So keep that idea in mind all the time. Now, let's step back between the chairs. Or if you're in your walker, you just use your walker. And we're doing our roundabout. So fill up the left leg, right leg empty. Turn it out. Shift into that right leg, turn your whole body, square to the right, bring the left foot to match. Empty the right leg, turn it out. Turn. And now you're facing away from the chair, or from the camera. Right foot turns out. Shift and rotate your body, facing this side. Turn the right foot out. Shift and turn. Now you should be facing back to where you started or in that general direction. Let's go around again. Right foot empty, turn it out. Change the weight, rotate the body. You're square to the right. Right foot turns out. Shift, turn. Right foot turns out. Shift, turn. Right foot turns out. Shift, turn. Let's go to the left. Left foot turns out. Shift, turn. Right? You could be hands on the chair the whole time while you work this. And then you switch over to the other chair. So that's why this chair setup is ideal. So you have safety all the way around. Let's go around a second time. Left foot, shift. And remember, we talked about this last week, that idea of the instantaneous change. If you take the time, slow down, and soften enough to find that instantaneous change, then the movement can happen in a short amount of time, yet you're not rushing and you're not putting yourself at risk. Now, once you're facing forward, we're going to go right leg empty, but instead of turning it out, you turn it pigeon toe. And then shift onto that foot and bring the left foot to match it. Empty the right foot again, pigeon toe. And then shift onto it and square yourself again. So we're just rotating, but first we set up the foot, then we shift onto that foot, and then we turn safely to reorient ourselves. We create this position, and we shift, and we reorient. First create your landing zone, then safely transfer yourself to it. Let's go around once more in that direction. Pigeon toe right foot. Transfer yourself, emptying that left foot. Empty the right foot. When it's empty, it can safely set up. And then we reorient. Pigeon toe. Reorient. Pigeon toe. And reorient. When you're back facing forward, change directions. Empty the left foot, pigeon toe. Shift and reorient yourself. Empty the left foot, pigeon toe. Reorient yourself. Empty left foot and pigeon toe. And reorient. Empty and pigeon toe. And just notice, how's your teacup? Go around again. How's that teacup doing? How's that feeling of sort of a cradled, floating middle? Keep an eye on that idea. Once you're facing the camera again, you're back to where you started. Let's put those together. Right foot turns out. We got to shift onto it, turn the body, and keep turning a little extra and pigeon toe with the left foot. And then shift onto the left foot, and you can face 180 degrees from where you started in just 2 foot movements. That's the goal in general. Then that right foot being empty, it turns out. We shift onto it, turn the body, pigeon toe the left foot, shift onto it, and turn the body. And we're back to facing forward again. 1, shift and turn and orient and pigeon toe. Shift and turn and orient. Turn out. changing direction. So now left foot lead, turn out, shift, turn the body, pigeon toe. Shift, turn the body, turn the foot, shift. How's the teacup? How's that feeling of your middle? Settled. Again, these videos that I have made have every tool that you would need to put into a daily practice to get yourself more in the direction that we're talking about. If you're just doing it on Monday with me, that's doing something, but a daily practice is the only way to really instill the concept of soft, easy, middle, balance, settled, right? Because there's a philosophical idea, and then we got to make that cascade through the cells to be a reality. And back to middle. Shogun, we're closing. Settle the hands. Now we're going to learn a little new concept here. This is from Bagua. Bagua. So I'll show it to you. So there's in Bagua, which is a martial art that has this happening in it, right? Walking around in a circle, and then we do turn, turn out, wind, and change directions, right? So that's sort of advanced Bagua movement, but we're just going to work on the legs here. So sideways, you got your chairs here for safety. Foot goes out, comes down. Drawing yourself forward, foot goes out, down, draw. Now, should be your sort of outside leg away from the camera. You do what's called kobu or hook step. Hook. So notice that I'm not pigeon toeing my feet. I'm actually crossing. So I'm creating like a letter T, like the letter T with one foot and the other foot. So this is kobu, hook step, like a hook. Then let the weight shift onto that kobu foot and turn and swivel on the heel of this foot. So do just that portion a couple of times. Turn into this pinched in position, open, in, open. Really pay attention to what I'm doing. Don't do more than what I'm doing. Don't swing yourself around. Notice the simplicity of what I'm doing. I'm in this leg, and because this one's empty-ish, I can turn. So my hips are turning, this foot is turning out, and I'm closing that in, and I'm sort of swiveling on this back foot. And remember from earlier classes, swivel steps. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're swiveling out on this foot. Now this is called bingbu, or bringing everything together. Bring this foot to match, and we're standing equal, okay? Now, step, shift, step, shift, step, shift. Now do a kobu, so it should be this outside foot, hook. Okay, from the hook, the weight goes through this hooking foot, and we do a open and a close. Open and a close. Belly button is facing this way, this way, this way, this way. So this develops the hips, develops our balance. Now, we've got this open stance. Shift your weight into this leg here and bingbu. Bring them together. One, shift. Two, shift. Three, shift. Kobu, hook. Ma to Schwen. Ma is this horse stance, and then we keep going to Schwenbu or open stance. Let's close Ma, Ko, or hook, horse, open, horse, hook, right? Now you go Ma, Schwen, and then bing, bringing the feet together. So you shift and shoo. 1, shift, 2, shift. Let me back up so I'm still on camera here. 3, shift, and then kobu. So outside foot, toe should be pointing to the camera so that you can see me and do what I'm doing. Opening, and then bingu. Now let's just do one step. 1, kobu, 2, open, and together. 1, shift, 2, open, together. Again, 1, shift, hook, right? We're pinched in. As my weight goes through this leg, I open. Notice how my middle stayed here. Together. Turn. So Karen, if you're doing it the way I want you to do it, you should never not be facing the camera, right? Meaning like this, because you're turning away that way. So have the foot that's away from the camera be the hook step. So you're pointing it towards the camera, towards your computer. Then you should open facing. Now this foot's pointing that way. Together. Hook. Open. Together. One more little round just to cement it here. Hook. Turning. Right, from here to here. Together. All right, Shogun. Hands up over. Settle. Brief self-massage, groin, inguinal region on either side, the hip flexors, the top of the thighs. This area is very important and can be very stagnated. Then sacrum and tail, lumbar. Down, around and up. And then up the arm, down. Up the outer, down the inner. Other side. And final time, close. Seal to practice. 1, 2. Taoist bow here, there. All righty. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a seat. If you have a question or two, feel free to ask.